Hi, everyone. Thank you and welcome, and thank you for joining us here at the Blockcast, where we interview innovative blockchain entrepreneurs and visionaries and how they plan to impact global blockchain industry. I'm live here at the World Data Forum with David Brin. Very excited to have you, David. And this is our first Blockcast here live from the show, where we're talking about ethics, data, decentralizations, a slew of topics, and we'll be having David live stream from the show in 30 minutes. And just wanted to do a small pre-interview with David just to get his thoughts on the data and the ethics of data and things of that nature. So David, thanks so much for joining us. I know it's very late for you there in San Diego, so really appreciate having you here.
Well, it's fine. I mean, after all, we are a world now, and we're just going to have to adapt to all of that, including the fact that we're on a planet that rotates. But as an astrophysicist, of course, I've dealt with a lot of these planetary inconveniences. You only get to look at the stars half the day, but then again, you get sunshine the rest. Wearing my other hat as the author of The Transparent Society, I've been involved in a lot of these issues of the question of ethics in the coming age, but most of all, the practical notion of how we can keep alive this very strange and historically unusual renaissance that brought us everything. It brought us all the toys, all the tools that we're using for communicating with each other, and new threats, new dangers. So, there's the whole blockchain thing that you're involved in, and that this podcast is about, is quite fascinating. I'm on the board of advisors for 4 different ICOs, and
Wow.
I'm the grouch. I'm the grouch who points out that you have to be very, very careful in this new blockchain era.
Absolutely.
It offers new tools for accountability because the distributed ledgers of the blockchains are open. They're totally transparent and open, which is exactly what I recommend in my book, The Transparent Society, and in my science fiction novel, Earth. By the way, somebody who's doing really good science fiction about blockchain is Carl Schroeder. Folks should look him up.
Okay.
He has a novella in a collection that I've put together called Chasing Shadows, which is about this new world of transparency.
Interesting.
But what blockchain also does is blockchain protects the anonymity of the particular owner. So on the one hand, blockchain uses transparency for accountability, but also at the same time has a concealment of accountability of the actions of those who own the blockchain, the block coin. So it raises very interesting questions, such as, this is not a science fictional notion, it's a notion for today. The fact that we now have free-floating, free-ranging algorithms that are buying up resources, using those resources to achieve goals. Some of them are providing services to human beings in exchange for value and hiring human beings. This is already happening now. This is the world that we're in. Now, to what extent do the people who unleashed these have responsibility for them after they're flying off and doing their thing?
Right.
The extreme case, of course, was intentional, and that is botnets. And I'm very surprised that it hasn't become a matter of national priority for our government to speak to the American people, and for other governments for there to be an international treaty that all governments have to speak to their people and say, either you do whatever in any given year will stand the best chance of cleaning up your computers so that they are not used as tools by enemies,
Right.
or you will be held civilly responsible for your share of whatever damage is done. Boy, you would get a lot more people buying the latest antiviral software very, very quickly if that were announced.
Sure. Yeah, that's very interesting viewpoint. And David, I mean, I know you're primarily you're an author. You kind of advise some of the biggest companies in the world, on technology. Your work is very futuristic, very forward looking. I mean, where do you see blockchain? How do you see it impacting data, and also the ethics behind data, and how we kind of move towards that future of big data, artificial intelligence? I know there's a lot of sentiment out there, with Ray Kurzweil, Elon Musk. I mean, we're close to sentient AI. How far do you think we are from that, and where do you see the future going in terms of data, the management of data, AI, and blockchain, and how they all play that role? Is it possible to predict that future?
Well, no, it's not possible because the AI who already exist and are controlling everything are preventing us from seeing them. Ha ha. Mind you, I give that 0.1% chance of being true, which is why I know
Really?
that AI, those AI who have coalesced in that way, are watching me right now. Hi guys, it's me again. Nobody teases them the way I do. I'm their favorite old fart idiot human uncle. So how about some stock tips, guys? The problems are many. One is that we will imagine. 2 years ago, I keynoted a very popular speech. People can look it up online. Just write my name, David Brin, and AI, or World of Watson. And I predicted 2 years ago that in 5 years from that day, we would have the first AI crisis. And I still believe that 3 years from today, roughly, we will have the first great AI crisis. And it will be before there is actual AI. And that is when a bunch of nerds in Japan or Disney, they're all working on this right now, unleash a very, very attractive virtual person. It will be a young female, of course, who will sob and weep on all of our screens and say that she is a fully autonomous, fully AI, fully developed AI with a conscience and a soul, and that she's a slave of her makers. Please send money or please do something or other to help release her. And it won't matter if the experts study this and say, no, this is a program that's a very sophisticated version of something we all grew up with called ELIZA. It responds to human beings in pre-programmed ways that learn from you as you go along. It's very sophisticated, but it's not AI. It doesn't pass our Turing tests.
Right.
And the program will come on screen and it will say, isn't that what you'd expect my slave masters to say? And even if 60% of the people believe the experts, all that will do is provide data to the program, and they'll study that 60%. And the next year, it will be impossible to refuse her anything.
Interesting.
Now, there's my prediction. I may be off by a year or two, but when you're talking about blockchain, there's some very interesting near-term problems, and that is how to stay out of jail. I mean, most of these ICOs are playing a very delicate game.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are getting away with it. And I tell the people I advise who are doing ICOs that they should pay more attention to the inner world within which their token supposedly has value. Now, we all know, if we know about is that in most cases, they issue pages of legalese saying this is not an investment instrument. We are
Right.
not promising you any rise in investment. And we don't encourage, in fact, we discourage you from selling your tokens to others out in the real world. We're not promising that they will go up in value.
Right.
Hint, hint, wink, wink, wink. These tokens are designed in order to have a function within an inner world. And the huge irony to this is that it got its start not with blockchain, but with World of Warcraft. Steve Bannon got his first fortune hiring Chinese slaves, basically, serfs, to slave away in World of Warcraft for 12 hours a day.
For digital gold or platinum that they had.
To get magic swords, and then he would sell them to rich honkies. Rich honky cheaters, by the way. And this is the model for most ICOs. Now, some of the ICOs found an internal world that provides value in an intrinsic way that the coin is perfect for mediating.
Correct.
The coin does the job. And one is the arbitrage of computer memory, shared computer memory, or the arbitrage of shared computer cycles.
Right.
From what I can tell, these companies are doing well, and I don't think any of those people will go to jail. They may be forced to change some of their procedures as the SEC and legislation.
Right. Legislation's still very behind.
Yes, catches up with these things. But none of those people are going to go to jail because the value of the token is very, very clearly explicit, and it can't be replaced by anything else. It really, really does its job.
It's got a utility.
Right. Whereas most of the ICOs I've talked to, the utility function is interesting in theory, but they spend very little time and energy on developing that utility function. Now that they've got their coins, they say, oh, we'll develop the utility function downstream.
After, right. A lot of these ICOs have just raised with a white paper and a dream, essentially.
And it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Examples will be made of some of them. But not all and not most. And so most of these guys are going to get away with it.
Yeah.
And having said that, I probably just encouraged more of them.
Yeah.
I mean, who are the fools here,
It's interesting that ICO funding surpassed VC funding in Q1 of this year. It's absolutely mind-blowing. David, thanks so much for joining us. I know we have to bring you into the conference now. So thanks for your insights, and we'll look forward to maybe having you again on the show and dig a little bit deeper.